I'm gonna do an I just realized I can't do that. The microphone goes through the speakers, and anyway, I was gonna play some Harris Heller music, but I'm not going to. Let me check one thing here, though, real quick. Well, let me do this so I can see I can see comments. I also need to see real quick if I can. I'm using a new streaming platform, and I need to see if I can change the category. Okay, there we go. Creating reality. What's up, my friend? How are you? That's a new message. I like it. It's a new message, not your usual message. What game are you enjoying right now? All right, so I've got this up here, but I'm gonna try to monitor it from so I can see comments. I've got this a little further away. I'm just trying to get different ways to monitor, make sure I see everything. I'm good. Just moved to Kentucky a few days ago. Wow. Kentucky is a beautiful state. That's amazing. Very, very beautiful state. You drew that emote? I love it. I love it. You're talking about the hand one? I love it. It's also affordable. Yeah, there were a couple of states, if I had to pick a couple of states that I would go to, want to live in, I would say that Kentucky would be one of the states. Tennessee's got some beautiful places, North, South Carolina. Is Black Ops 7 worth buying? Haven't played it, not going to. I think it's a complete disaster, and I'm probably done ever playing Call of Duty, if we're talking gaming right out of the gate. All I've heard is negative, outside of the people that are paying for that. Nutler, what's up, my friend? Hey, I'll send you a message. I want to talk to you about the new Father Strong, Live Stronger program going on that I decided to launch. I thought it'd be kind of fun just to do a fatherhood fireside Sunday night kind of a thing. And see where they go. Just make it kind of relaxing. In the program that we'll be launching, we'll actually have a Sunday night call. But I thought it'd be kind of fun just to do these. Also, I don't know why. Hey, creating reality, does my stream look kind of blurry and laggy to you over on Twitch? Or anyone over there, does it look kind of blurry? Because on my iPad, I'm not sure why, but it looks like it's a little blurry. I'm gonna turn the fan on real quick. Hold on. Also, you know what I could do? Hold on. I don't know if this is charged. I thought since we're just doing this, I thought it'd be kind of fun to, it seems a little bit blurry. Like, I feel like it's kind of lagging. That might be a Riverside thing. Let me see something here real quick. I thought it'd be kind of fun to,
here real quick. I thought it'd be kind of fun to.
Okay, we can't do that. I wanted to see if we could have some background music. So I was going to, let me go to my YouTube music. We'll bring up some Harris Heller. Because he has a ton of royalty-free stuff. Royalty-free planet. Let's see what this is. Let me know if you guys can hear it, if it's too loud, not loud enough. Sue, baby, how are you? Thank you for liking, smashing likes in the live already. Let's go with something lo-fi. Can you guys hear that? Let me know if it's too loud. I just thought it'd be kind of, rather than just me talking. Hold on. Stream Beats lo-fi. Here we go. Yeah, I think it might be a Riverside kind of a thing, in terms of, why is this not playing? That's weird. Oh, maybe you took it off. Stand by. I'm just trying to see if we get some music in the background. Stream Beats. Harris Heller. I was trying to do his lo-fi. Original Demon instrumental. I don't know if, I think these are videos. Playlists. I don't know why the songs don't come up on this one. It's kind of weird. I wonder if you get taken off of YouTube Music. Let's see what this is. All right, we'll give that a try. Let me know if you guys can hear that. Or if it's too loud, not loud enough. That's not very lo-fi. That's good for a stream or something. Not Christmas. This is really weird. His lo-fi stuff is not... It has 11 million plays. Copyright-free music for streamers, but they're all grayed out. That's really strange. Something went wrong. That's really odd. I see some of these names that come by. Mom stands with plate. Oh, man. All right. Outside of trying to figure out this music here, I just thought we'd talk about fatherhood. Ask any questions. I'll tell you some stuff that's going on. Royalty-free music for live streaming. No copyright background. Oh, we'll give that a try. We'll give that a try. Oh, I don't know if I could do that. That's pretty bad. All right, maybe we'll do no music. Okay. So a lot of stuff going on. I was talking about one of the things that's been on my mind pretty heavily is not just so the movement of Fatherhood Reclaimed. I feel like I really felt impressed to come out with our my fatherhood skills development methodology, if you will. And it's a program we're going to limit to 20 men. We have people are starting to sign up already. If you're interested in that, DM me. I'll get you the document. I'll get you the information on what the program is, what the cost is, how it works, what you get for being in the pilot program, and all of that. It's just DM me. No obligation. You can look at the stuff and kind of see. But I was trying to figure out what should we talk about on these Sunday fatherhood firesides. I mean, we can kind of open it up to anything that you might have an interest in. I probably should have planned a little bit better with like a specific message. I thought I would just kind of wing it this time and tell you, well, you know what? I'll just tell you a couple of things that are on my mind. And then if it sparks any questions or any kinds of thoughts, let me know. Let me do this really quick. There are so many things that are great about fatherhood in our society. There's so many things that are not great about fatherhood. There's so many things that I get a lot of messages. I think one of the most common things that I hear is the struggle, the challenge, the difficulty in carrying the load. Especially I think because most men feel like they're doing it by themselves, and that doesn't have to be the case. That's part of, there's two main things we're doing with Fatherhood Reclaimed. Number one is to help reinstill, restore the amazingness of fatherhood amongst dads, fathers, future fathers, grandfathers, mentors, and two, to kind of restore that in society. So I'm thinking through a bunch of different, what direction do I want to take these firesides until people start asking questions. What's the biggest thing? And so if I put some questions out there, I could say, well, it's kind of surprising to me. Let me say this, and I guess I'll talk about me for a second. I've always been really surprised that I grew up in a home without a father. I was raised by my mom. My grandmother was around quite a bit as well, growing up in Los Angeles. And I always knew that I was loved. We always had food. I mean, even if it was, I learned later, a lot of times we were on food stamps. And my grandparents were helping as much as they could. But I never doubted that I was loved, and I never really noticed the absence of a dad. I mean, early on, I spent 1 month in the summer, and weekends I'd be over there once in a while, maybe once a month, with what was my stepmom, and I have a stepbrother, stepsister who are just like brother and sister to me. So it's always curious to me that I had this burning desire, if you will, to become a father. To the point that my wife and I have been married 37 years. I've never had those kinds of examples in my life. That's why it's kind of curious. My mom was divorced twice, never remarried after the second divorce, and here I've been married 37 years. Didn't have a father. Now my wife and I have 6 kids and almost 6 grandkids. So it's always curious to me, where did I get that example? And I think one of the things that the reason I wanted to start this Father Strong, Live Stronger program and get it out was because I think that there are a lot of fathers that don't know where to go to build the skills beyond the ones that are just inherent. I was talking with my wife today because we were talking about this program, right? So I'm launching this development, my fatherhood skills training methodology. It's a 12-week program. And she said, well, yeah, but aren't a lot of things just kind of inherent? And I said, not really. I mean, for me growing up, I didn't have a father in the home, so I kind of had to learn it other ways. And I feel very strongly that fatherhood skills can be trained and developed. There are a lot of things that are just intuitive and inherent that you just learn, and a lot of things you just learn along the way. But that being said, I think there's a lot of things that you learn along the way you could learn more clearly, learn better, be better at, and that's one of the reasons I'm bringing this program. Man, I really didn't think about a topic in particular, other than having this be just kind of a fireside. I could talk more about this program. Let me do this really quick. What's the best way to do this? Let me do it this way. Sorry, I got to scroll way back up here. Let me move this around a little bit so my head isn't turning so far. Okay, so we'll just go through this a little bit, and then hopefully we'll spark some questions. We can talk about anything about fatherhood that you guys want to talk about. So I started the Father Strong, Live Stronger pilot program. And so just to kind of go over it, Father Strong, Live Stronger is a cultural restoration movement for fathers who want to stand firm in a collapsing culture, show up with consistency, no excuses, repair quickly instead of letting damage linger, lead with calm strength, build a stable, safe, connected home, and create a legacy worth inheriting. So this is not a self-help group. It's not a therapy session, and it's not just motivation and talk. I felt really strongly that if we're going to do something like this as part of the movement of Fatherhood Reclaimed, I really feel like we have to have some practical side to it, some ability to develop skills. Because again, looking back at my growing up, I didn't grow up with a dad. So where did I learn fatherhood skills? I think there's several sources, mentors and different kinds of things. But man, there are a lot of things I could have learned faster and learned better, but I had a real motivation to be, strong a father as I could. But in this fatherhood, or fatherhood strong, or Father Strong, I have to get this. I have Game Strong, Live Stronger. That's the LLC that a lot of this runs under. But Father Strong, I'm never going to get this right. Father Strong, Live Stronger is going to be an ongoing 12-week program. This will be a pilot that we start with starting December 1st, and it's going to be special pricing and all of that. And you guys I can send you the document. What's up, JR? How are you, my friend? So, again, it was really important to me as I was explaining some of the details to my wife. It was really important to me that this is not self-help. This is not a therapy session, and it's not, motivation and cheerleading, because no one, there's plenty of that out there. I wanted to treat developing fatherhood skills the same way with the people that join us in this, that I trained athletes, or that I was a competitive athlete. I want to use methodologies that are measurable, observable, repeatable, to be able to quantify progress, not just, hey, let's be better dads. Because when we build better dads, we're going to be able to build stronger families. We're going to be able to build stronger communities. And then we can go out into the world and start to reclaim fatherhood based on the examples that we're living and restore it to, its position it needs to be, which is the whole thing with Fatherhood Reclaimed. So, that is, hold on, let me check something here really quick. Mirror video. I don't know why it does that. There we go. And so that's really the premise. So this will be 12 weeks, 20 men total. If you are interested, you'll have to be kind of invited by me. The information, I think I'll put some of the information up on the website by tomorrow before I go live. So if people want to see more, they can see more there. I think I'm pretty sure I'll do that. And then if you're interested, you can DM me, you can email me, you can contact. Lots of ways to contact me. Okay, so kind of why this exists. Hold on. I'll just get into it. Why this exists. What's up, Chris? I'm guessing you are doing a little driving on the internet right now, if I had to guess. So why this program exists. Fatherhood has grown weaker, quieter, and more absent in modern culture. So I want to change that. I want young men that are yet to be fathers, future fathers. I want men that are fathers, grandfathers, men that are mentors, maybe that don't have children, to take just incredible pride in what it is to be a father, because it is difficult. It is the most challenging thing you'll do. But for me, it's the most amazing experience a man can have in his lifetime. And no other achievement, no other thing you do outside in the world in your life will have the impact or will matter anywhere close to being the best father that you can be. So in this methodology, in this program, you're playing Black Ops 7. You're one of the brave few. Here's a funny thing, just side note on gaming. Black Ops 7 has not cracked 100,000 players concurrently since it dropped, whereas Arc Raiders, I think, was at 400,000, and then Battlefield 6 was at like 300,000. Call of Duty's in trouble. They're in trouble. Okay, so Father Strong trains men to become stable, consistent, grounded, present, capable, reliable, and legacy-minded. We rebuild the men who rebuild the homes that rebuild the culture. I love that, because that's really, it says it more in a more articulated way. This program, the work that we're doing is to, we rebuild men who rebuild the homes that rebuild the culture. I mean, that just says it absolutely, spectacularly. Yeah, it's not what Call of Duty used to be. They missed the mark again. Yeah. I've seen a bunch of clips since it dropped, and it's unless you're FaZe, swag getting paid to, oh, it's the greatest game ever. No one is really saying that. What makes Father Strong different? Most dad programs give advice. I just have seen that. I'm going to do a piece of content tomorrow talking specifically about that most dad programs are really about giving advice. And what do I mean by that? I mean that most of them are, hey, do this and try that, and hey, it's great to be a dad. That's not what my program is doing. That's not even a program. It's a methodology. It's a training methodology for fatherhood skills. So we train fatherhood the same way elite programs train performance. And I think that's really the key for me. I've been a competitive athlete most of my life. I have trained competitive athletes for many years. And I love methodologies put in place to enhance the experience and to train people and to have them, again, to have an approach that is quantifiable, therefore it's measurable, and then it's observable. You can see what's happening, and you can replicate that over and over and over. So it has to be measurable. What was the second one? My mind just went blank. Relatable, or it'll come back to me. All of those things. So we do that through daily reps, weekly benchmarks, skill building, structured practice, accountability squads, measurable scoring, and identity-based transformation. There's no theory here, just training. And so I wanted this, and like I said, I wasn't going to release this until sometime next year. I've been working on this for a couple of years. And I just felt I had a lot of people reaching out to me about different things. And I just started to see that if we were, like I mentioned just a second ago, I think if we take the approach with Fatherhood Reclaimed, with the changes we want to make around fatherhood and restoring it to its position it once had, what we need to do is let's rebuild the men, all of us. We will then, as men, go rebuild and strengthen our homes, and then we can go out and rebuild the culture around fatherhood in society. And I think that's the logical step and the logical progression. So that's why we had to have a system that just wasn't theory or daddy development advice and all of that. So I put together the Father Strong framework, and it is built on 4 different domains: strength of character, strength of presence, strength of leadership, and strength of legacy. And I think those 4 things are fundamental because it lays the foundation for becoming better, helping others become better, and leaving a legacy to your children and other people in the world about being better. And again, if listen, I'm telling you because no one's really asking questions yet. Our numbers are still pretty small, which is totally fine. Thank you for being here, all of you that are here. If you have any questions, just interrupt me. Just interrupt me. I don't want to just keep, I want to be talking about this a lot because we're capping this first pilot at 20 people. So if you have an interest in this, just DM me and say, hey, can I learn more? And I'll get you the document that describes the program, what I'm reading here. And you can decide, and then we can invite you. I also created the FSI, the Father Strong Index. So this is kind of the quantifying of the work that we're doing. And it's made up of a bunch of different pieces. So we measure fatherhood through 7 different quantifiable behaviors: presence, repair speed, escalations, connection moments, leadership actions, role balance, and showing up moments. So that is, again, I want to make sure that if we're going to develop skills that we can quantify it so that we can measure it, because you can't improve what you don't measure. And so the Father Strong, Live Stronger methodology in this training, and I want to refer to it not as a program. This is a training methodology for fatherhood skills because I'm treating it that way. I'm taking years of coaching experience, years of being a competitive athlete, and applying, mathematics and a formula to all of this. This will be, I'm going to do, I wonder if I did a search for how many, let's just do it really quick. I'm going to see something. I'm going to do a piece of content on this very specifically tomorrow, but let me just ask, how many father development programs exist? Let's just see, because there's a glut. Thousands. Thousands. So there are thousands of fatherhood programs available across the country focusing on various aspects of father involvement and support. These programs aim to strengthen father-child relationships and promote responsible fatherhood. Organizations like the National Responsible Fatherhood Clearinghouse. Okay, so I'm gonna venture to say, and I'm pretty confident in this, that there's not another training program like what we're going to bring with this methodology. I don't think there's anything that's going to show as complete or as taking the approach, because I'm going to treat fathers in our pilot program and ongoing in our 12-week. I kind of have to call it a program. I'm going to consider you as fatherhood elite athletes, and we're just going to develop skills that are going to be just incredible. Forrest Gump, thank you. I didn't see what you gifted, but thank you. I think you gave me a rose there. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I'm going to treat you as fathers just the same way that I would treat myself as an athlete or the athletes I worked with. And this system is going to be based around that. So this will be very different than the thousands of other systems out there. I think we'll be very unique. We talked about the index. Okay, so you get a weekly score of 0 to 100. It'll show how you're growing, what's improving, what still needs work, and how your home is changing. So there won't be any guessing, right? We'll be able to put some numbers on it, and you'll know. And I think that's important, because I think when it comes to self-development or fatherhood development and different things. A lot of time it's really subjective. And I don't think we need things to be subjective. I think we need things to be objective, because subjective results are just that. It's just subject to what you feel like is happening. But if you can make it objective with data and you can quantify it, then you can say, okay, yeah, I'm really improving here. Wow, I really need to improve there. And it makes it much more successful. And guys, please ask any questions. I'll talk about any topic about fatherhood you want to talk about on these fatherhood firesides. I'm just now telling you about Father Strong, Live Stronger, this new 12-week opportunity that we're launching that'll launch December 1st. Okay, how the 12 weeks work. So there'll be a weekly call, which will be training and coaching. It'll be a live stream within our private Discord. You'll be a member of the private Discord, and it'll be there. So it'll be just for us. In this first pilot, it's only going to be 20 men. You'll have daily fatherhood workouts. These are not meant to be things that add more to your plate. This is going to be 3 to 10 minutes actions that that build presence, repair, and leadership. They'll be very simple, but they'll be consistent and sustainable. That's the problem with a lot of different things that I've been a part of, a lot of self-development or different programs, is that they give you so much to do that it becomes overwhelming and it's just not sustainable. It's kind of like when people start dieting, right? They go, and I've done this when we all do this. You start looking, it's like, oh, I'm going gangbusters, right? I'm going to go all paleo, or I'm going to be, I'm going to go die hard carnivore. And then it's not sustainable. I'd always tell people that so I owned one of the largest CrossFit gyms in the world for 6 years, been involved heavily for 10. I worked for CrossFit HQ at the CrossFit Games for a number of years, as well as regionals, and had one of the largest, physically and membership CrossFit boxes in the world. And I'd have people come in all the time and they'd talk about nutrition was a big thing. Now, since Greg Glassman sold, he started a company called MetFix, Metabolic Fix, and he's continued to address the nutrition thing. But here's what I heard all the time. It's like, I got something coming up. I'm gonna have a wedding this summer. We're going on vacation. I'm die hard. I want to lose all this weight. I want to get in shape. And the number one thing I would tell them all the time is don't do anything with your nutrition that you can't do for the rest of your life every day. But everyone wants super fast results. And so I say that a lot of the same things. That's why these 3 to 10 minutes a day in Father Strong, Live Stronger throughout these 12 weeks is meant to be just that, something sustainable that you can do for the rest of your life as a father. There'll be weekly benchmark challenges. So one measurable assignment each week, real fatherhood work, not theory. I'm going to change my glasses. Again, it's going to build consistency. For every time we run one of these, we'll start new groups. I think every month they go for 12 weeks. But in this pilot, we're going to limit this to 20 people or 20 men. And so there'll be 4 squads, accountability squads of 5 men, which will have a quick daily check-in, support wins, encouragement, honest conversations, those kinds of things will be available for each of those individual. And within the Discord, there will have not only will it be a private Discord, but you'll have a private channel just for your squad. There will be a Father Strong field manual, a weekly PDF. I'm not really big on documents, but you have to have them, to a certain degree. And we'll probably do a lot of this. We'll have some things envisioned that we'll do digitally on this, so that we'll have our own app and that kind of stuff. But there will be. We'll hand that out. We'll deliver that every Sunday. It'll be clear, simple, super actionable, again, super sustainable. There'll be a performance test, a repair test, a leadership challenge, a final index score, and a lineage letter. So there's, again, a consistent methodology of things that we're going to do that are sustainable long after the 12 weeks and that you can continue to carry on. By the end of the 12th week, you should feel more emotionally steady, more present with your kids, more confident, more respected, more capable, more connected, more intentional, more balanced, more proud of how you show up, and more clear about who you are becoming. Your spouse or co-parent will feel the difference. Your children will feel the difference. You will feel the difference. If I were to pick one of the things, and I had to make sure that in the design of this, that was the end result, because I want every father and every future father and every grandfather to take the greatest pride in what it is to be a father. Because again, for me personally, as a father and grandfather, not growing up with a father, it's the greatest thing that a man can do. And no other success outside of what you do in your home will compensate for failure there. But I want men who, I get so many messages that are feeling as though they are, not understood, they're alone, it's too much, it's too difficult. And that's why this methodology, this fatherhood skills, training methodology in this program had to leave you at the end of it feeling like, wow, it's just amazed. I'm amazed at what we're doing. I'm amazed with what I've learned, with the direction I'm going, the legacy I'm going to leave. Who is this for? This is for any of you men who want to rebuild yourselves, who want to break generational patterns, whatever those patterns may be. For me, the generational pattern that I was breaking was not growing up with a father. And I didn't want that to continue. I wanted that to be, and my wife and I have raised 6 kids. All of our kids are grown adults now, and we have 6 grandkids so far. So that was important to me. Who is this for? Men who want to lead without anger. Anger has never really been an issue for me. I know it is for a lot of men. It's not my personality. I can be very intense, but not really. I don't really I've gotten angry with my kids, don't get me wrong, but I don't lead with anger. Be consistent instead of reactive. That is, I think it's really easy when we so raising 6 kids, you can imagine, having kids in general is just super busy. Having 6 can be incredibly chaotic. And a lot of times it's easy, especially for us as dads, just to react instead of actually, consistently lead. It's like you're kind of putting out one fire, you're jumping from one fire to the next. This program will be for men who want to create stability in their home, who want to repair quickly, who want to build legacy, who want to join other men who are committed to becoming father strong. The repair thing we'll talk more about. The repair thing is about, how quickly can you apologize? How quickly can you, help work through a rift, in your family with your spouse or with, a co-parent or with your kids, whatever it may be. Now, who is this not for? This is not for men who want to talk about the change. If you're happy just talking about, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to change, it's going to be great, then this isn't for you. We're going to do some work. We're going to put some work in, and it's going to be amazing. And if we didn't build it in such a way that you had to put work in, then what good is it? It's just cheerleading and talk and theory. It's for men who want to train it. It's, again, I'm going to treat each father in this program as an elite athlete, because fatherhood kind of requires that level. Anyone can be a dad, right? You can conceive a child, be a dad, but being a father is a whole nother level of things. And it takes, again, while a lot of it can be intuitive, a lot of it takes training. So those are the basics of this 12-week program. If it interests you, just message me, DM me, email me, contact me on wherever you find me. And I have to be careful what I say so that TikTok doesn't think I'm not keeping you on the app. And I'll send you this document so you can kind of review it and answer any questions. This will be limited to 20 men on this first pilot, and then we'll see kind of how it goes through the month of December. It starts December 1st. But again, I feel like if we're going to reclaim fatherhood, if we're going to if we're going to return it to the status that it once was, then I think we have to demonstrate that we take it seriously in a way that the skills that we want to have, the skills that we develop, are actually being worked on in a methodical way. And you won't have to work on every single one of them. You may be, super confident or do really well in, your ability to be present, but maybe you're not great in your ability to repair or your ability to be consistent. So it's about producing the most well-rounded fathers that we can possibly produce. It's about producing results in your fatherhood skills that, my sister's messaging me something about, she knows, obviously I like Iron Man. I think she's looking at Christmas gifts. I'll have to message her back. So, again, fatherhood skills can be intuitive, but we're going to train them. We're going to take them seriously. And I think the people that get involved in this, the 20, especially in the pilot program, you're going to get a lot of other benefits. The price is going to be significantly less, probably half of what we'll eventually be charging. This initial pilot group, it'll be $500 for the 12 weeks. Plus you'll have another perk of being part of the founding group. You'll be there for, you'll have lifetime membership, instead of having to pay for monthly memberships for these first 20 only. And there's some other things that I'm working on that we'll be doing for this first 20 group, because in this pilot, we're going to pressure test some things. What did you love? What did you not like? What could we change? What was amazing? What would you do different? And for that feedback, I'm going to provide a much lower price, and then obviously lifetime membership and a lot of other things, and some opportunities to lead and do some other things. We do have, one of the things in the plan of all of this is that I want to have local groups. Now, right now we're calling them forges. I may be changing that based on the early release of Father Strong, Live Stronger. So stay tuned. You'll see some stuff on the website tomorrow. But that being said, there will be men that come through this that have leadership desires, leadership abilities, that maybe want to start a local group, which will still be part of the overall Discord and the overall program, but they can run something, do some in-person kinds of events. That's another thing too I want to talk about. One of the things that I look forward to doing is I want to do a big in-person event next year if we grow this successfully. We want to get to 1 million followers. And guys, thank you. Thank you for those of you that are here, by the way. Thank you for smashing likes. Thank you for, all of that. So I want to do a big in-person event, and then maybe I don't think in 2026, but 2027, I want to start traveling the country and promoting this, because there's multiple parts to Fatherhood Reclaimed. One of them is going to be our esports mentorship program. So the esports mentorship program is going to be a way for us to bring competitive gaming and have mentors, fathers, grandfathers, work with youth, young men, or anyone in an environment to be able to teach the same kind of principles we're going to teach in Father Strong, Live Stronger, but be able to do it in a fun, kind of connected way, because I love gaming. So I think, big in-person event. I would love to do it and make it free. That would be a big objective, just so people can register early to attend for tickets, and then we just cover the cost. That would be something I think would be really cool. What else on all of that? I'm really excited about releasing this, the Father Strong, Live Stronger. And there's a lot going to be coming with that. Again, if you're interested, not trying to make this a promotional fireside, a promotional thing just about this, but if it's something you're interested in, just reach out to me. I'll get you the overview. You can decide. And if you are, we'll kind of figure out, make sure it's a right fit, and then we'll get you enrolled, because I am going to cut it off at 20. It starts December 1st, goes from December 1st to February 28th. I think December will be a great time to start it, because I think with that, there'll be some more free time for people. I mean, the holidays can be crazy. Don't get me wrong, but if more people take time off work, and you may have a little more flexibility, especially if in the pilot group, I'll be asking you some things. Hey, what do you think about this? Or hey, can you test out this we're going to do an app, or can you, some different things like that. So it may be a little bit easier. And then I think after that, it'll go back to full price. It'll go back to not all the perks that the founding group get, and maybe start a second group in January and get people ready for that. I also think, I wonder, you guys can tell me, I wonder if we should have a referral system, like an affiliate kind of a thing. If you refer someone, if you refer someone, there's some kind of benefit there, maybe, an affiliate kind of reward. That's something I was thinking about as well. Let me know your thoughts on that, so that, yes, there is Lurk, there is a website. It doesn't have, the link is in my bio. I think the link is in my bio. Everything's in my bio. The website does not have the updates. There's going to be significant updates tomorrow with, since I'm launching this program. I just decided to do it yesterday. And so there'll be a bunch more information. But yeah, there is. The link is in my bio. Lurk Mob. I love it. So yeah, there'll be more. I'm going to make some pretty big changes, because again, I wasn't going to release this program, this training methodology for fatherhood skills, until probably next summer, is kind of what was on the docket. I've been working on it for a couple of years. Long pause. Questions, thoughts, insights. You know what's hard too is that as people get to know, I have a lot of people that have been following me for a long time, and know the things that we've had, going on. One of which was losing our oldest son to a struggle with mental health 4 years ago. So December 7th will be the 4-year anniversary. I think part of the real draw of me doing Fatherhood Reclaimed, and why I kind of came to this, is I just came to the point that, if someone were to ask me, so I have an AI startup with a partner, and I really, really enjoy tech. I've been around tech most of my life. I really enjoy tech, but if I were to build a resume on everything I've done in tech over 3 decades versus everything I've done and I've learned and am as a father, grandfather, I would say my resume on the father side would be much stronger, even with the experience I have in tech. I'm sorry, I'm sitting here thinking, man, I'm sitting here talking about myself. What am I really providing to you guys? Let me shift gears a little bit. I want you to understand, I want you to know that fatherhood, if you're a father, it should be the most amazing experience to you. But I know for many, they're feeling completely overwhelmed. Feeling like, what's the point? Someone messaged me earlier today, commented on one of the videos about what about the legal system and the way that it's out of balance, against men, especially when it comes to custody. And it's absolutely true. I said, that's a bigger fight that we'll take on, that we have a plan to take on down the road when our numbers are bigger. But those kinds of things are the real challenges that people face. Dank Diamond, what's up, my friend? It's been forever. Well, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you found us. I'm glad you're here again. Our numbers will all get up as well. So I appreciate those that are here. Spread the word. Fatherhood Reclaimed is meant to do nothing more but for me to pour out my experience, us together, to work together shoulder to shoulder, to become better fathers, to get society to restore and reposition fatherhood to its greatness. And culture, society needs it, right? We've talked about it. Great empires of the world, the Romans, the Greeks, the Babylonians, those empires fell primarily because of the decay of the family, the breakdown of the family. You can go look at it. Go look up from an archaeological standpoint to a not even theoretical, a legislative standpoint. That it's the effemination, the whatever that word is, reducing the role of fathers ends up impacting the family negatively and ends up impacting society, and empires fall when societies fall. And you can find that. And that's one of the things we're just not going to let happen. I just refuse to let happen. Man, I mean, go on and talk about myself forever. I guess it's a matter of relating. Look, for me, myself, having to grow up without a father, and then now being a father of 6 and a grandfather of soon to be 6, I recognized along the way that I had to I had to learn how to be a father on my own. Once I was in my early 20s, I reestablished a relationship with my father. Now he's since passed away. My stepmom's passed away. My mom has passed away. I'm actually the second oldest blood relative in my family. I have an uncle that's older, and that's it. Other than that, I've outlived my parents. I've outlived, my grandparents. I've outlived them all, and I plan on living to be 108. But I will say too, this is one topic, and you guys tell me. I don't talk about religion. I don't talk about politics in my content. They're very important things to me, but I typically don't talk about those subjects in my content because it ends up being just an opportunity for playground fights. And, it's just not worth it. It kind of takes away from the importance of it. But what I would say is this. My wife was telling me, I think it's important for you to know and for you to understand that a large part of who I am and what I do is on my faith and my understanding of why we're here and where we came from and why we're, where we're going. And I would say with that, I learned much of the skill set that I have through that experience of being a man of faith in my life. Now, what I don't want to do is get into religious discussions, but I want you to know that that is my perspective. That is the foundation of everything that I do. If you're not a person of faith, that's understandable. You can still build the skills. The point that I'm making is that it helped me be grounded and have a perspective that I didn't grow up with. And that made a massive difference in how fast I personally was able to grow on my own. Though I think with, when you talk about what we're going to do in the Father Strong, Live Stronger program in these 12 weeks is lay a foundation that took me many years to understand and kind of get used to. Now, I'm absolutely not a perfect father. And please understand, I would never make that point. I'm not a perfect husband. I'm not a perfect grandfather. I'm not a perfect man. But what I will tell you is that I work really hard at it. And, in 37 years of marriage, my wife and I are best friends. We're still learning, in raising 6 kids, even having through the tragedy and the terrible, no way to explain the pain of losing a child to the struggle with mental health. That was our oldest son. Through all of that, I work really hard at being the best person of faith, the best father, the best member of society, the best leader and provider, protector in my family, the best friend. I work really hard, and those skills I've worked really hard to make those skills better. Buff be more. Nobody is perfect, but we try to be. And that's really, you're absolutely right. I mean, what we're talking about is that, everyone wants to strive for being perfect. I gotta be perfect at this. No, we've got to be trying perfectly. We've got to, is that the right way? We're striving to do things the best we can to be able to become something down the road. And now at age 62, I can tell you that I still have so much more to learn. When I look at where I was as a kid, where I was as a teenager, young adult, and now, getting into those, the most amazing years of my life, I think, I realize how little I know versus compared to how much I thought I knew and how much there is to learn. So, and those are lessons that took me a long time. You're doing an awesome job, Street. Much respect. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let me bring up one thing here too. I talk a lot about myself because I want to get these questions going, but let me back off a little bit from talking about myself and say this. I'm so inspired by so many of you. I have two cameras that I'm looking at. I'm so inspired by so many of you because I know that quietly, yes, there are many suffering in silence, but there are also many succeeding in silence. And I hear stories, and I know that, if you are just someone that is doing the best you can, that's inspiring to me because I know what that feels like in doing the best that you can. So just know I watch, I see, I read comments, I get a sense of, from my personal experience, what you have been through, what you are going through. And there are many things that you experience that I never will. And vice versa. But that's why when we stand shoulder to shoulder, especially in this Father Strong, Live Stronger program and the things we're doing with Fatherhood Reclaimed, that we can all benefit from that and be inspired by that. And we'll do more together than you could ever do on your own. Zorak OG says, but isn't this perfection really completion? Our best effort is what we can offer and do. Yeah, I would say, I think there's an original Latin or Greek. I'll have to look it up. What's the origin of the word perfect? I think it's a completion. I think that we have, I'll get the exact definition. I don't want to misquote it. But this comes back to why I felt so strongly about the thousands of programs out there that are daddy development, father improvement programs. Most of them don't treat our process of growing as fathers, as men, as grandfathers, as the same way. It's like we treat athletes one way in getting a level of performance out of athletes, but we don't treat fatherhood kind of the same way because it's warm and fuzzy, and a lot of the programs are become a super fit dad, which I think is important, but it's not everyone's cup of tea. But all of those, but versus what I'm bringing to the table, what I'm bringing with this, with Father Strong, Live Stronger, is an approach for us to become complete, right? For us to be able to identify, quantify, look at the areas we're weak in, look at the areas we're strong in. I can tell you in all my years of owning, the large CrossFit box that I did, the thing that I loved about the CrossFit methodology is that it attacks weaknesses and you can't hide them. When you go to the gym, a traditional gym, and you typically are going to work the things that you're really good at, right? That's what you're going to do. If you're really good at bench or squats or deadlift, or you're going to work on the things you're really good at. But a methodology like CrossFit requires that you work everything because it's about having capacity in broad time and modal domains so that you are the most capable human being you can be. That was one of the big attractors to me. I want to be able to, and Greg Glassman's original kind of code behind all of this was your ability to move large loads, long distances quickly. And that specialization is the enemy to capacity, to human capacity. So there are a lot of athletes that are very specialized. They really focus on what they're good at. An NFL wide receiver isn't going to be necessarily a good soccer kicker or goalie or something, right? They get very specialized, but they become very weak in other areas, which is fine because that's their career. That's what they're designed to do. And that takes a tremendous amount of work and skill. But when it comes to fatherhood, I don't want to have fathers, and I don't want to be a father that is, and thank you for smashing likes, guys, and the gifts. Thank you. It all goes to the purpose. It all goes to everything we're doing. I want to be a father and grandfather and man and contributor and mentor and all of that across as many spectrums as I can. I don't want to just be specialized in, I know what it is to be a father of a large family, or I know what it is to be, to lose everything twice in my life, in my married life, whatever. I want to be able to help and be capable at as many different kinds of domains as possible. And that's how I'm designing this program. That's what so the actual handbook, on the back end, the HQ side that I've written is 74 pages so far. And it's going to help fathers develop skills in a way they've not approached it before. and we're going to do it in a way that's sustainable for the rest of your life. And you're going to, in these 12 weeks, you're going to learn all these things, build relationships, stand side by side, and know how to have an impact in society and become more complete. I mean, that's really the objective. So I feel very, very strongly. I was telling my wife, so we have a whole story. You can see it. I can't mention on the other red app. You can see the Rob Davis story if you want to see how we started our CrossFit gym, and what it's kind of really meant. And I've been looking ever since we sold it in 2016. I have been looking for that feeling I got with CrossFit, the passion I had, the success that we had, in something that would feel in all the ways that it did. Because I absolutely, I'll tell you, to this day, I would have still been involved in CrossFit if what is an opportunity now would have been an opportunity then, and that is to own more than one affiliate. You couldn't do that until after Greg Glassman sold it. If that was the case, I would have stayed in and I would have had 20 or 30 affiliates. I was absolutely 1,000,000% in love with CrossFit for many, many reasons. The reasons of what it provided to affiliate owners, what it did for me at a time in our life when we were going through something very difficult. 2008 economy crash, we ended up losing everything. And it gave me a foot back up, as I told Greg Glassman the first time I met him. And then what it does for members, what it does for success in training, its methodologies, its science, its approach was unique to anything and any training I've ever done. And of course, obviously there was some merit to it because it completely reshaped the fitness world on the planet. And that tells you that there had some merit. And I want Father Strong, Live Stronger to have the same net effect. I'm in love with Fatherhood Reclaimed in the same way I was with CrossFit, in the same passion, because now I'm good at this stuff. I love it. And there is a massive, massive need in society for us to stand up shoulder to shoulder with fathers and have society understand that we're bringing father back and restoring it to the position of pride and aspiration that it deserves to have, that has been lost in many, many ways. And that in and of itself ends up making fatherhood that much more difficult because it's extra weight we have to carry when we don't get the respect. I don't want to use phrases like that, when we can't take the pride openly that we should be able to take in being a man and being a provider, protector, leader. K-Rod, what's up, my friend? How are you? Another longtime OG supporter. So with Fatherhood Reclaimed, I really like what we're doing in AI. I'm going to be involved in AI for a long, long time, but I am passionate, deeply in love with Fatherhood Reclaimed. I can give you kind of an example. When we started, I started CrossFit in my gym, in my garage. And again, you can go see it. Go look up the Rob Davis story. You can see, you can watch the video on it, and that HQ did on us. I wish they didn't name it that, but they did. And so I went from starting in my garage on the verge of we were losing our house at the time. This was the end of 2009. The economy had crashed. There's a whole long story. And within 18 months, I went from my garage to a 14,000 square foot facility with over 300 members going to, we were pushing to 400 members, 350 members, I think, at the time that video was done. And we were one of the largest facilities within 18 months. And it was because I was so passionate about it. I was so much in love with it, not just because of what I found that it was, but what it provided and what it did. And I see the same thing happening with all of us with Fatherhood Reclaimed. It's really interesting too, because speaking in the CrossFit world, one of the big things that really attracted me was the communities that were built in that world. And those communities were, they became family. I'll give you an example. We had a Christmas party every year for the box, and I had our 5:30 a.m. class was very, very close. They had their own Christmas party. And when I run into people now, it's been what, 9 years since we sold, almost 9 years since we sold it, 8.5 years. And there are people that still have incredibly close relationships that came from the years that they were with us at the box, at our CrossFit box. And that was one of the net effects that it had. And Fatherhood Reclaimed is going to do the same thing. We're going to do the same thing amongst men. You will develop and have relationships with other men that will last the rest of your life. And a lot of it will come because of the work we're going to do together. It's not just about a buddy club, hey, let's go out, and it's about the time we're going to spend together, the way we're going to grow together, and the things that we're going to achieve together. And that's going to make the difference. So the Father Strong, Live Stronger program for these, especially for these first 20 men that are going to come in at a heavily discounted rate for what it will be. There'll be all kinds of other privileges. You'll be part of that founders group. And we're going to lay the foundation to a lot of the work that's going to go forward. A lot of the work we'll do personally, in our families, with our loved ones, and then in society. So I highly encourage you to not lose an opportunity on one of the spots. If you are interested, please message me in some form or another, and I will get you the breakdown of what the program is, how it's going to work. I promise you it's different from anything that you've seen in the way that we're going to approach it, the complexity, the science, the effectiveness, and we're going to build some amazing relationships. And then if you are a fit, I'll get you all the details of how to sign up and move forward. So I would hope, just trust me, this will be one of the most unique experiences you'll have in any kind of development process. And I don't care if it's physical training, spiritual, whatever. I mean, this is going to be, I'm going heart and soul in this. I am putting everything into this, so I would encourage you to not miss out, especially on this first group. It'll be worth every dime going forward and more, 100 times more. What else do we want to talk about? We can go on for about another 30 minutes or so. I have date night with my wife. We're going to watch a new movie, that Kevin James one. I don't remember the actor from, he played the TV show, the big dude from the TV show Reacher, or the TV version of Reacher. But there's a Kevin James movie about dads or something her and I are going to watch. So what should we, for 23 minutes, talk about? I can keep talking about myself. That's kind of boring. I guess I'll keep going on with the idea, the understanding that is, I can't tell you. I look back now, so we're in a different phase of life, right? So my wife and I were married in 1988. Our first child was born in 1990, and then we had 5 more children after that. And my daughter, our oldest daughter, is now about to have their 6th child. And we go and visit, or we talk with them on, we Zoom regularly a couple times a week with all the grandkids and everyone. And the chaos that they're living through just makes me laugh, because I remember it's just, and I'm so proud of her and her husband and the work that it takes because I know exactly what it is to raise 6 kids. So I enjoy now moving to this phase. And I can tell you, those of you that are in the hunt with kids right now, even if you have one, it's a different phase of life. Now that I'm 62, our kids are all grown. It's moving into another opportunity it's just a different phase. The things that we do with our older kids, the things that we do with our grandkids. And I'm just looking forward to now the next 18 years until I'm 80 of just being so intensely involved in these kinds of things. And then we're going to do some other things of servicing in the world. I'm the youngest of 5, so I get the madness. Yep. I mean, it's funny too. I'll just tell you a funny side note. This has less to do with fatherhood than it does just in a household being empty nesters. It's one of the biggest changes. So here are the giant fundamental changes for those of you that are dads. I'll just tell you some funny dad stories. Change number 1 that was significant for me was the last time we bought diapers. That was huge. That was ginormous. Another big one was the last time I heard, hey, Daddy, come wipe me. That was another really big one. So our kids became more independent. But another big one is when our kids were all grown, and it's my wife and I can open up the fridge and whatever I left in there is still there, unless my wife happened to eat it. When we clean something up, it stays cleaned up. When Um, it's like it's way more quiet, and there's good and bad to that. People will ask me if I've missed, have I missed? Have I missed? I'm trying to figure out where to put my hand. Have I missed? Have I missed the days of being a dad with young kids or kids at home? And I would say no, because I felt like I was all in. I was all in on being a dad when they were here, as I am now being a dad as they're older and with our grandkids. But I don't miss it. It was brutal. I mean, it's brutal. This is way more. This is way easier, you know. But I wouldn't have traded it for anything. If I had to do it all over again, I would go through. I'd do it again. I'd probably have more kids. But it's not like I look back and think, because I'm so into what we're doing now. I'm so into, especially, I can't tell you, since I decided to launch Father Strong or Live Stronger, I can't sleep at night. I'm so excited about this program. I'm so excited for these first 20 men that will be part of the pilot. I highly encourage you, if you don't miss this, it's going to be probably half the price of what the rest of them will be. It's going to be 12 weeks. It's going to be lifetime membership. There's so many things, but we're going to do some great stuff together. But man, it was crazy. It was craziness. Raising one or two or three children is just very different. The fridge is the first place I go when I go to my parents. Yep, same thing with us. Two things. Yeah, Micah, just let me know. Let me know, my friend. Let's get together. It's so funny because if our kids come to visit, they'll kind of typically do that. They'll hit the fridge, or especially our youngest daughter who's in college. She'll come by, she'll hit the fridge, make some food, and then what's the other thing that she'll do? She'll do laundry, which is totally fine. I'll tell you another thing that's kind of funny. This has to do with the moms, and moms and dads are very different, obviously. And it's funny because my wife, so our youngest son and one of our other sons were living, our two youngest sons were living together for the last number of years. And then the older of our two youngest sons got a job in Florida. So he moved to Florida a few weeks ago. And so our youngest son now moved back, our youngest son, who is 6'6", by the way, moved back home until he figures out, finds a place and figures out where he wants to move. And even now, we were making, we're having Sunday lunch, and he came in and he said, my wife was saying, "Hey, can I make you something? Are you hungry?" No, I'm going to go get something later. But my wife's whole thing is she's like, "Oh, really? You don't want me to make you something?" She's kind of be respectful that maybe he wants a burger or something. And I see that all the time as well. So anytime one of our kids come to visit, my wife ends up stocking them up. It's fun to kind of watch because moms are nurturers. Moms are, and so our daughter will come back and she's a poor student, and she'll, my wife will load her up with food and all kinds of other stuff. Deployable. It was brutal. This is the most honest thing I've ever heard. As a dad, the biggest thing you have to learn is self-sacrifice of your time, hobbies for your kids, and being okay with it. 100%. 100%. Look, I didn't give up. It's not like I had this horrible life of sacrifice. I mean, I still, I was still competing when our kids were kind of young. As they got older, it wasn't, I stopped, I retired, if you will. It's a massive sacrifice. But if it wasn't for that sacrifice to my kids, I would not be the man I am today. I just wouldn't. And so I feel it's tough I feel for, and whether it's one child or 10 children, I feel for men who won't have that opportunity or haven't had that opportunity, excuse me, which is why the mentor side of things, I think, is going to be so critical for what we do, especially in the esports side of things. But there's opportunities because people need it. They actually need it. Bunny, how are you? How are you, my friend? But yeah, let's not pull any punches. It's easy to glamorize fatherhood, but let me just tell you, the reason that the blessing of being a father is so strong is very simple. It's because it's the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life. There have been some things that have been incredibly difficult. So I raced bicycles much of my life, from the time I was young, in BMX, then road bikes, and then mountain bikes. Mountain bikes weren't invented when I was racing BMX. And I remember the first time we did a long stage race. We did a 7-day stage race, and I thought we were pretty well trained. And at the end of that race, it was the hardest thing I'd ever done. I mean, 7 consistent days of racing. We'd never done, the first time we ever did it, we'd never done a 7-day stage race as a team. And we'd done a ton of 3 and 4 and 5-day races. But 7 days was the most difficult. I was done at the end. But afterward, it benefited my level of fitness increased so dramatically over the next month. And I felt so much more confident in stage races that were maybe 3 days or 4 days or 5 days. So having experienced one of the hardest things I'd ever done in a 7-day stage race made me appreciate and made it so much better. Had I not experienced that, I never would have reached kind of that season's level, that first season's level of fitness, and I wouldn't have had that kind of appreciation for what you're capable of if you don't push yourself that way. And fatherhood does that. It just pushes us. But here's the thing, that kind of brings me back to that point that I originally say my original reason for starting Fatherhood Reclaimed really came down to fatherhood is brutal. Motherhood has all of its difficulties as well. Please don't think I'm somehow, I was raised by a single mom. I've been married for 37 years. I've watched my wife in her role. We are equal partners with different responsibilities, skills, and abilities. So not taking anything, but fatherhood is brutal. It's tough because we're expected, when you are the leader, when you are the provider, the protector, the leader, you typically are the one that have to kind of keep it inside. And my wife and I are very private people in terms of our lives. I don't have best friends I share things with that I wouldn't share with my wife, and vice versa. We don't talk about our disagreements with other people. We work things out ourselves, and that's been because we're absolute best friends. But we have to keep, as fathers, we have to keep a lot of things just inside. We have to kind of just deal with it. And I would say that we are geared for it. We're built for it. We're designed for it. And so we can do it, but then the Father Strong, Live Stronger program is going to help us do it even better with more ease. But the point I'm making is that fatherhood's hard enough. And when society dumps on us as well, it just makes it it breaks many men. I mean, obviously we're losing more men every day than we've ever lost in history because of the pressures, because of losing the vision, and I think a lot of that comes from, if society said, let me give you an example. Here's a good example that just came to me. I remember back in the day, I'm trying to remember what it was. I mean, not Vietnam. I was a kid during Vietnam, but there was a time when the military personnel would show up from deployment and they would literally be walking through the airport and just be spit on and yelled at and denigrated. Whereas now, anytime that you see, excuse me, in general, if you're in public or you meet someone that is military, former military, or they're returning from deployment or something, you very commonly hear, "Thank you for your service," as they should be thanked. And that wasn't the case for many, many years. I remember when that wasn't the case. I remember seeing things happen in airports that were just terrible. Why do I bring that up? Fatherhood is kind of going through the same thing. It's, while we look at it and kind of laugh that fatherhood it's been marginalized. It's been, kind of pushed aside or minimized and in many cases degraded. That to me is where the military personnel were for a number of years. I want it to be where the military personnel are now. I want to be in public and see a father and see someone walk up and say, "Thank you for what you do in raising your kids and the work that you're doing." I want society to view fatherhood in that same way. I want to be somewhere instead of, I remember one time I was, Lewis, what's up, my friend? I remember one time we were in Costco and we had all 6 of our kids. They were young. I had a couple in the cart, and then we had a flat. We had 1 or 2 of them were walking, a couple of them on the flat, and I had a lady walk up to me, and she pulls her cart right up to me, and she looks me right in the eye, and she says, "Haven't you ever heard of birth control?" I was so shocked. I was so stunned. I didn't know what to say. And I almost always have some response for something like that. I was just stunned. Maybe I'm going to start doing this. I think I'm going to start doing this. When I see a father with a child, I'm going to say, because usually I'm wearing a Fatherhood Reclaimed t-shirt or hoodie or something. And maybe this is a challenge. Start trying this and see what happens. I want to start when I see a father with their child, I'm going to say, thank you. Thank you for being here for your children. Thank you for being here for your family. I don't know their whole story, but I know that he's a father. And, imagine how that starts to change. I think that's a great, I'm going to start incorporating that, because what I've always done for years as well, because I love gaming so much, I ask everyone if they're a gamer, and it's so easy to strike up a conversation because half the world's population games. But what if I walk up and I just see, if I'm standing in line at a store or waiting at a, checkout or whatever, if I see them with a kid, say, hey, just want to say thank you. Thank you for being a dad. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for what you do, because I know as a father of six, what it takes behind the scenes. I'm going to try that. Excuse me. I'll report back on that. I think that's going to be kind of fun. We'll see. I think that'd be really interesting. All right, real quick, fire off any questions or anything that you have, something else you want to talk about. We'll be on for another 10, 15, 20 minutes or so. I'm going to use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back. All right. No questions? We'll keep talking. Yeah, I think that'll be kind of fun. I think it'd be kind of fun. Hey, thank you for, I'll just say thank you. Thank you for what? Thank you for being a dad. Thank you for being a father. Thank you for, obviously you're putting some work into it. I like that. Let me just kind of get back to, guys, I'm so excited. You're officially a PC gamer. I love it. Welcome to the real world. I'm just kidding. I would highly recommend, I'll update the website tomorrow morning. I'll put the stuff about the Father Strong, Live Stronger program, the 12-week program, and this pilot that we're going to launch. It'll be kind of a special one. Where did I get my mouse pad? Hobby Lobby. That's where I got it. It's a Marvel mouse pad. Yeah, I got it at Hobby Lobby. I'm a Marvel guy. Oh, it's got food on it. What? I gotta wash it. Obviously, I'm a big Marvel guy. Yeah, I got it at Hobby Lobby. Probably ordered online as well. Guys, if you're not a dad, you're going to be a future dad, or you have a dad or someone that you believe would benefit from this program, there'll be more information on the website tomorrow, but message me, send me your email. I'll get you the document and the outline. Please don't let this, especially this first 20, we're going to do some really special things with this first 20 group, the pilot group. Spread the word, get someone in, and I'll create some kind of an affiliate reward as well if you refer someone. And we'll do something with that to benefit you. The program cost is going to be $500 for the pilot group. It's going to be probably double that as we go forward with it because of how much we're putting in. But please refer. someone, if you know someone, at least take a look at it. There's no obligation or anything. Take a look at it, because I am only going to allow 20 people in the pilot group, and so just to keep throwing that out there. Yeah, I think it'd be. I really like that analogy when I look back on it now. I think about what we were just talking about, because when I watched military personnel many years ago, 30 years ago, come back from deployment and just literally get yelled at, sworn at, people being vulgar, spit on, to what it changed, thankfully, to where people are, thank you for your service. I want that to be the same thing with dads. I want a dad to be in public somewhere, not that we have to have this recognition, but let's be honest, we all like to have a pat on the back and some, hey, you're doing a great job, or thank you for what you do. It's like makes all this, the sacrifice that we make as fathers worth it. And that being said, I would love for society to treat dads the same way that we've learned to treat military in the proper way. No more gaming, not right now, outside of what we'll be launching next year of our esports mentorship program, and there'll be a lot of gaming there. There'll be a lot of things there. But I'll be honest, there are a lot of game streamers. I was nothing special. I did for a long time have a pretty big following, but that just really started to drop off. So the time returned. I'm so vested in Fatherhood Reclaimed and everything that we're going to do, that all of my time, my live streams are going to be talking about what we're doing with this, especially now that we're dropping this pilot program. I do still game. I haven't gamed. I probably game maybe 2 hours a week. I really would like, but I'm not going to be game streaming probably until next year when we drop the esports mentorship program. Then I'll be streaming in a different way. We did have a good run. It did have a good run. It just wasn't, if I could have made a full-time income through streaming, I absolutely would have, continued on. But it's changing so significantly for so many people. It's actually, I'm glad, because I got a lot of live streaming experience. I still love gaming deeply, and it's gonna be incorporated in Fatherhood Reclaimed very deeply. But to spend the time just gaming, when instead I could sit and talk with you guys and do things like this, doesn't have the worth, that it once did there. And things have changed significantly in that, and all of the. I think it's gotten harder. As just a side note, I think it's much more difficult to make a livable income as a live streamer than it was 10 years ago. It's just very different. And so you have the really big streamers that are still succeeding, even though there's struggles there. The platforms are different. There's going to be a lot of changes coming. But yeah, I love the game. But my focus really is on Fatherhood Reclaimed. I'm going to probably think most of the night now that I would love to envision the day that you as a father walk in somewhere and people walk up and say, or someone walks up and says, hey, thank you for all you do. Thank you for all you do. Is that Leonard coming? I see. User 317-417-410-6245. I think it is. It's the only number that I actually have memorized. But you're going to hear me talking. I know I'm going to talk a lot about this. I know it'll seem like an infomercial about Father Strong, Live Stronger, and this program. But I'm telling you, this is going to be an approach to developing fatherhood skills like you've never seen. And I'm so excited about it because I want this to be a global program within 3 years, the same way that we had grown to a world-class level, our CrossFit gym, in 18 months. I'm not going to make any apologies for talking about it over and over. There's going to be a ton of free content, a ton of other stuff, but this is, I'm very passionate about how we develop the skills in fathers, how we then improve families, and how we then improve society's view of fatherhood. So what did I do in my past career-wise? I've always owned, I've worked for small companies several times, but I've largely just been in business for myself and kind of been, I don't want to call myself an entrepreneur because that's kind of overhyped. I've been in business for myself. Sold one business. I've lost everything twice. We have another startup, an AI startup. But I got to tell you, with fathers, I've been in the tech industry. I've been in tech in one form or another, usually on the very practical end of tech delivery and application of technology in everyday kind of work and life. But I was telling my wife tonight when we were having a bite to eat, we were sitting at the kitchen table. I said, like I mentioned earlier in the stream, I said, I've been looking for a long time for something to fall in love with as deeply as I did CrossFit. And I was all in. I worked for HQ at the CrossFit Games. I worked for HQ at the Southwest Regional, many years. I have, we had one of the largest CrossFit facilities in the world, top three, maybe top two. I was all in. I am more excited and more sleep deprived and more in love with Fatherhood Reclaimed and what we're going to do than anything I've ever done. And it keeps me up at night. I'm so excited. That's why I'm going to keep pushing. Please, please, please. The website tomorrow will have more information about the Father Strong, Live Stronger program, what's entailed. But if you have any interest in it, please get in touch with me sooner than later. I'll get you the document, the kind of outline of what it is so that you can reserve your spot. There's no obligation, but I don't want someone to miss out on the special pilot that we're going to run with the special pricing and all the other privileges and all of that. So if you have any interest at all, please email me or DM me and I'll get you details. No greater calling than being a father, in my humble opinion. Well, I don't even take it as a humble opinion. I agree 100% with everything in my heart, soul, and mind. I think the greatest single thing a man can do in his life is to be a successful father. I don't think anything else compares. And as a successful father, you will be an incredibly successful husband. You'll have a successful family. You'll have, be a successful member of society. And I think the reason that it is, so I agree with you, absolutely. I think the reason that it is because it takes so much to achieve. I mean, look, the greatest things that we have the most respect for are the things that were the hardest to do. If you look at, Navy SEALs, or my son-in-law was a Marine Corps Raider, we look at those with admiration because the amount of extra work, the amount of sacrifice that it takes to achieve that. Fatherhood's no different. I think fatherhood's the hardest thing that you will ever do in your life, but the most rewarding. And I'll tell you this, I experienced a level of the difficulty of fatherhood watching my son in the last year of his life and then ultimately losing him on December 7th of 2021. I could never express to another person unless you were a man, a father, because my wife, his mom, experienced it in a very different way, as moms would. I could never put into words the difficulty, the pain, the suffering, everything that goes along with that in that last year of his life and then ultimately losing him, unless you're a man who's been through that. And as a result of that experience, it has made me more of a man of who I am. It's put me on a path of the work we're doing with the 9292 Foundation and now with Fatherhood Reclaimed. And that has made me stronger and have an ability to see fatherhood in a different way that I ever would have otherwise. And I would hope that no man has to experience that as a father. I'll give you an example of what I mean. 2 days after we had lost him, I had a friend of mine show up, Mark. I hadn't seen him in a number of years. And he knocked at the door. Now, this was someone, he lost his son 6 or 7 years before this, maybe a little bit more, to a similar circumstance. And when he opened up the door, we hadn't talked in years. And I happened to open the door. We had people coming and going like crazy, but I happened to open the door and he was standing there and there were no words. We looked at each other, tears started to flow, and we just hugged. Because I knew at that moment in my despair that here stood a man that understood exactly what I was feeling. And he understood, he brought back memories for him, what that experience was. And we didn't need words. In fatherhood, men to men, father to father, in the work that we do, it's the same kind of thing. I don't need to tell any one of you that's a father that it's brutally difficult at times. I don't need to tell you. I can just look at you and know that as a father, you have experienced the same kinds of things, not everything the same, not identical, but what it is to be a father. And we don't need to even talk, but we have a relationship and a bond. And what we need to do with Fatherhood Reclaimed is come together and let other men know that they're not alone in that we do understand, that we're experiencing it, and that we're working towards something bigger, which is having society tell us, hey, thank you for your service as a father. Not that we need to have that, but we need to replace, for young men, in my opinion, that are aspiring to be fathers, we need to make sure that they look at fatherhood that this is inspiring to me. I want to be a father one day at the right time and with the right person in the right place. I want to be a father. Not, yeah, I don't know if I'll ever have kids. I don't know, society tells me I should just pursue my career or whatever it is. That is unacceptable. That's unacceptable to me. It's unacceptable in a scientific way. It's unacceptable in an archaeological way. It's unacceptable in the strength of society way. And I just refuse to let that happen. And I think the only way that we do that is when we stand together. Ted says, amen. Thank you. Yeah, so I get very passionate and I gotta be honest with you. I wish I could give everything away. Well, let me just say this. I'm not going to apologize for this program, the Father Strong, Live Stronger program, or the fact of what we're charging for it, because I'm going to put heart and soul into this, and it will change your life as a father from a brotherhood standpoint to a skill development standpoint, because I'm going to treat you'll be treated in this program, because it's not another daddy development program. You'll be treated as an elite athlete, but as a father. I'm going to use the same experience as a competitive athlete, as a coach of competitive athletes, the same methodologies, the same quantifiable, measurable, observable and repeatable standards to build a brotherhood of fathers that excuse me, to build a brotherhood of fathers with the strength to, just by the fact of what we do, change society's view. Program, Brody, it's called Father Strong, Live Stronger. It will be on the website tomorrow afternoon. I'll get a lot of updates, but right now I can send you the outline. It's a 12-week program. It's going to be a pilot. I'm only letting 20 men in for the pilot. It'll be a heavily discounted price, half of what it will likely be going forward or less. And it'll start December 1st. If you're interested, just DM me with your email. Let me know, say, hey, I'm interested, and I'll send you this kind of breakdown sheet. It's a couple of pages, 2 or 3 pages of what the program is, and I'll be happy to send it to you. No obligation. You can decide, but I'd hate for people to miss out, especially on this first pilot, because you're going to be special founding kind of members of this going on. We'll probably, it starts December 1st. We'll probably start the official program once we kind of pressure test a few things with all of you on January 1st, and it will be a much higher price, and it won't have some of the other perks and benefits. It'll still be amazing. And if since you're asking here, just really quick, so I'll just read to you the Father Strong, Live Stronger pilot, 12 weeks, 20 men, 1 movement. What is Father Strong? Father Strong, Live Stronger is a cultural restoration movement for fathers who want to stand firm in a collapsing culture, show up with consistency, not excuses, repair quickly instead of letting damage linger, lead with calm strength, build a stable, safe, connected home, create a legacy worth inheriting. It's not a self-help group. It's not therapy, and it is not motivation or talk. It's training. It's training of skills. Unfortunately, I can't afford it, but I'd be interested in knowing what it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. Just like I said, DM me. If it's not in your budget right now, I completely understand. But if you'd like to know more about it, recommend others. And we'll be giving a ton of the stuff away for free. I'm going to be live streaming every day. But yes, and then one thing I hope to do as well as we grow this is that I want to have a scholarship program. I think part of that can come from the 9292 Foundation. I think if you've seen what I'm doing with wanting to get to 1 million followers, to be able to fund a lot of this. And so I'd love to be able to one day say, hey, we have a number of scholarships for people that are interested in the program but don't have the budget for it. That'll also apply to our esports mentorship program. So just DM me, give me your email, and I'll send it out to you, and you can learn more. And then also, like I said, by tomorrow afternoon, it'll be more information up on the website. So, it's just the greatest thing in the world. I got to try and pay my late fees on my rent plus rent. We talked to the other day. And what's going on? No, listen. Hey, listen. I get it, brother. I get it. Trust me. Trust me, I get it. I fully understand. And again, there are a lot of these other kinds of things. These are things that we want to address. These are things that yeah, I know where you're at. Listen, I got to tell you too. Listen, the holidays are brutal for men. We lose more men in the holidays than any other time of the year. And so I recognize that coming into the holidays, that was another part of the reason I wanted to get this going early, so that we can give a lot of men that do have the budget, and I understand not everyone will, but that do have the budget to jump in on this, to be able to strengthen and to be able to take it out and help, many others, and give a lot of times men, we especially we can compartmentalize or feel that we're very isolated, and that isolation is never good. Feeling like you're alone in this, that no one understands, that, I have been many times, Brody, in that position of late fees. How am I going to pay the rent? My car payments due, my phone bills due. I get all of that. And you're talking about someone that twice has lost everything. And I came from the first time we did in 2000 with the crash of the economy in 2008, we were almost completely debt free. 2 brand new cars we paid cash for, a small mortgage on a big house we bought in property, no debt whatsoever. And to the point of, a year and a half later, we were losing everything, which is when I started CrossFit and why Greg Glassman wanted to tell our story, what we had been through. Haven't been able to work with my wife's health issues and my boys' schedule. I get it, brother. I trust me, I do. Living on the edge can make everything not feel. Oh my goodness. Can make everything, to not feel worth it. And that's just not the case. My thoughts are with you. My heart's with you. I say that, my thoughts and prayers. I know that can get to be a little bit trite, but thank you for the, who just sent the hand heart? Oh, Leonard, user 3174. Yeah, I think one of the things, and we'll kind of finish up with this, I think one of the things that gives me heart and passion on this is that there aren't very many situations, there are some, don't get me wrong, but there aren't very many situations that I haven't personally experienced. I grew up without a dad. I know what that's like. I reestablished a relationship with my dad. I know what that's like. I have been married for 37 years. My wife and I have raised 6 kids. I had to learn how to be a dad. I know what that's like. I have lost everything as a provider in my family twice, and going from being self-sufficient and even very prosperous at one point in our life to losing everything. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to struggle in rebuilding for years, and we're still rebuilding from the COVID loss. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to lose a child, to a struggle with mental health. And I'm not saying anything. I'm no one special, but what I'm saying is, I know the pain. I know the struggle, and I can relate to a lot of what people are going through. And with that, in the end, I want to say that there's light at the end of the tunnel. This too shall pass. You've heard that cliche many times, both good and bad. But we can get through. But what I can tell you is we can't do it alone. And the more that men try to do it alone, the weaker we become. The more that and it doesn't mean we have to be, hold hands, kumbaya, and huggy. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we stand shoulder to shoulder. We align ourselves with what we want to achieve and what we want to do. And we will achieve and do great things. And we will lose less men. We will save lives. We will change lives, and we will change culture in society. Thank you for what you are doing as fathers. Thank you. The hardest thing I've done is ask for help, but the backlash is asking is bad. Listen, there are resources out there. Please find them. Please, they are out there, and I know the struggle is real. I don't know what they all are. There are different churches, there are different government, kinds of things, but just know, don't go it alone. And if there's anyone that ever comes into the chat or has any insight on that, please reach out to people and share. That's one of the things that we'll do. So, just know that I can relate on many different levels. I feel with all of those experiences, I more than anything feel that that fatherhood is the greatest thing that we can ever do. And I will tell you this, Brody, I am probably one of the most fiercely independent people you would ever meet. I'm so independent because I was raised by a mom. I grew up probably as the absolute poster child for latchkey kids. I could have been had my picture all over the world. My mom was a waitress most of my young life. I was alone a lot of my young life. I was fine. You know, she would call. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have any of that. She would call, make sure I was okay. But I was by myself because I'd be in school during the day. She'd be home. She'd work typically at night because the best tips were at night. And I would be alone in our apartment. And like you probably couldn't get away with a lot of that today. But I say that I learned to be very independent. My mom was fiercely independent. And I remember one time we moved from a house and I wouldn't ask anyone that I knew to help me move. I packed up the entire U-Haul and all of our belongings in a trailer and our cars by myself. You know, my wife helped with some of the heavier things or whatever, and obviously helped, but I could have asked, there were 50 men I could have had come over and give me a hand. And I didn't. So I get what it is to not want to ask for help. I hate asking for help. But that's not good either. That's not good either. And the thing is, with games, with Father Strong, Live Stronger, as well as Fatherhood Reclaimed, one of the ways that you learn to be able to ask is to have a brotherhood and a community that you can trust. And that's a big part of what we're going to build. So, all right, I've got date night with my wife. We're going to watch a Kevin James movie, that whatever that dad kind of movie is or whatever it's called, and spend some time together. We do that every Sunday night. I'll be live. I will be live every day, multiple times a day, probably. I'll be putting out a ton of content. If you know of anyone, have anyone that would be interested in this program, in the Father Strong, Live Stronger program, please reach out to me. I'll get you anything you want. There'll be more information on the website about it tomorrow. I remember, Brody, you telling me about you know, you do get kind of that latchkey thing in a very different way. I didn't have that kind of experience, for sure. Thank you for being dads. Let me say this. Everyone can be a dad. Thank you for being fathers. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for the likes, the follows, the shares, the comments, all the gifts, all of that. And keep doing the best you can, whether you're part of our program or just part of our community or just working on being a dad. It makes a difference, and society needs to see it. So I appreciate you. I love you guys, and I will look forward to talking to you more tomorrow. Message me with any comments, any questions you have, and I read every comment and try to answer everything that comes through. So be safe, and I'll see everyone tomorrow. Now I got to reach way up here to turn this off. And then I'll go here. Guys, thank you. Much love.